Zeus! I have too much money, Zeus. Tell me what to buy. So, Thiodio. Remember the Phantoms, the big old planars? I really liked them, but I had to send them back. So when I really liked them, and then I did some modding to them because they needed a little work, and then sent them back, I was like, ah. And then other things came along, and everyone was sort of like, whatever, yeah, Thiodio Phantoms, but they're not built that great, and people say they sounded wonky without the mods, which is obvious. So, I was offered up the Thiodio Legacy 3s, and I'm like, oh, Thiodio makes IMs. There's also apparently the Thiodio Legacy 14s. We'll get to those, I think. I don't have them, but I'd like to have them, since the Thiodio 3s... See, here's the problem. When I really like something, I tend to scream about it and then not mention the other things around it that I also like. For example, the Starfields. Or, for a little bit more money, the OH-10s. And don't forget the Shure tapes. Those are things that are in my box, my magical box. So, with the Legacy 3s, I've had them for a while. I've only been using them for like a bit. I'm going to say a bit, an amount of time. And it only took an amount of time to go, well, okay, here's another one. Here's a fucking another one. Because it's just a matter of, at this point, my job is no longer to find the best IEMs at a crowd of shit. My job is to find and verify and make sure that out of the 100 IEMs I'm reviewing, the 3 that are actually shit don't get purchased. Because fuck. We're going with a gothic theme today because the IMs themselves, oh, they're in my ear. Clockworks, they basically took a bunch of, it looks like, I wonder if those are real gears from like a clock manufacturer that went out of business in China. And like, can we just pour a bunch of your shit in our thing and make the mold? Okay. So, it's a clear blue IM with a bunch of gears in the back of it, which either looks cool to you or looks not great, but there's options, so we'll get to that in a second. Oh, my air conditioner is going burr. Air conditioner go burr. It's 92% humidity out. I'm gonna die when I shut that off. These are only $120, and that freaks me out. It does. It freaks me out because I've got IMs to review up on the walls there. I've got the Ico OH7s, which doesn't sound like a high-end IM, but it's like $900 fucking dollars. I've got the Blessing 2s still to go. I've got, what the hell? I got the new FIO flagships, the FA9s. FA9s or FH9s, one of those two. And I have to wonder, I also have those Fearless Chronicle ones. I haven't listened to them yet. You know why? Because I got to get away with the cheap stuff. I don't want to listen to them. I don't want to have my mind blown by these $1,000 IMs. I got to just, push this shit that's just what. Fuck! This is, my whole day is ruined. Because now I know what these sound like. And it's going to be one of those things where, okay, Zeus, you've now finished the $120 Thiodio Legacy. Legacy 3s. Phantom. Voyager. No. Thiodio Legacy 3. Okay. Because now I have to compare these $1,000 IMs to this fucking thing. And it's like, here's the thing. It's a combination, and you could just look inside to know, of a dynamic driver and a balanced armature. Or is that 2 balanced armatures? And you can't see it because the camera literally isn't good enough to pick this up. But there are 2 switches here. And you are given this little tool, which is a tool for popping up things. And you can go here, right here, and you can go, hold on, I'm going to, wait. Oh, no, wait, I'm going to, So you could have up to 4 different patterns, because it's labeled on KS. Let me get the other one out of my ear. Maybe it's written larger. No, KE. It's ONKE and then 1 and 2. And I was going to look up like specifically what those switches did, right? Because that's, it makes perfect sense. Because it's not written and there's no manual. The box, by the way, I really like the presentation of the box. I want to say this before I move on. I complain a lot about when I unbox things. I have an unboxing channel. This was on the unboxing channel. I usually get IMs and you pull them out and there's this long packaging and they have the IMs displayed to you and then buried under like 3 layers is the case that you're going to end up putting them in anyway. And ThigAudio was nice enough to give me a cool case. Like that's, you can't close it like this. It's like an old minivan door. You can't do it the wrong way. You have to do it the right way. And that's like not even, it's cheap. That's fine. I'm going to throw this away. Everyone's going to throw this shit away. Just don't make it expensive. But it opened up and then there was this musical liberation awaits poster telling me to go onto the streets and march for musical liberation. And then only thing in here was the case. And in the case was the IMs, and it makes perfect fucking sense. They didn't even need to make this big. I mean, they put like 3/4 of an inch of dense foam around it. Like it's in a case already. I'm all for minimalism on packaging. Like I have a car that gets like 15 miles to the gallon. So I'm ripping a hole in the ozone layer. So I gotta be like cognizant about the environment and some other aspects. And packaging waste is a fucking huge one. So it comes with this case, which is too big. It's too big. This is massive. This is like you could. It's fucking. I don't even know what I could put pads in here. Here, I could put headphone pads in it, and it fits fine. That's too much space for just some IMs. But that being said, it is a very nicely built case. It comes with a couple tips, and it comes with the tool, which is a basic pop-out tool for like your phone where you got to eject your SIM card or something, or SD card and something else, or hit a reset button. And if you lose this tool, you're going to be looking for a paper clip, which is 2020, so no one actually uses paper anymore, because you're going to want to flip that. They're very light. They weigh, they're hollow. A lot of times you get, like OH10s are literally fucking solid copper. OH10s are solid copper. The Seed 2s from Hibby were solid copper. You get a lot of IMs that are fully molded plastic, like the entire thing is completely filled. And these are just nothing. These weigh... They weigh nothing. They end up tips on them, and I am using Dakoni tips. And I'm going to say this before I move on. Don't ask what the tips do to sound at first. Find tips that work for you. That's the most important thing. A reason I use Dakoni tips for all my things is not because it makes everything sound better. It's because it's the only tip that fits my ear. A large on the right, a medium on the left. If you are a SpinFit or you have some other weird, obscure brand of tip, which by the way, list them in the description. I want to know what exists. There's a couple other ones. Panasonic makes a few, spiral dots, things like that. If you find the tips that work for you, by all means, use those first. And then if you think it's doing something to the sound, you could switch to stock tips or something else. I only use the Dakoni tips because for my ears, for Zeos's perfect ears, which one is slightly larger than the other, I love my little foam tips. So you get these incredibly lightweight hollow IMs. It's open in here. You could drill a hole and you could fill it with cheese, melted cheese if you wanted to, and then seal the hole back up, and then you'd know that you had cheese in your ears. They use the... Do you remember me complaining like a real motherfucker about the last... Blonde BLO5s? I complained real bad. I'm pretty sure that video came out live already. But the Blonde BLO5s use this type of connector, which is the 2 pins inside a shroud. Only their fucking actual thing here was a square. Well, because Blonde is basically made by people who are... I don't want to say heroin addicts, but... Wake the fuck up, Blonde people. See, because this one uses an actual correct tip, which the oval, which here's the wire that I bought for the Blondes that I couldn't use, which will fit. So if you wanted to run these balanced, you could buy, that's the triple win cable. Currently using the Aiko OH7 adapter. The problem with using that cable is I fucking like this cable. Like, just feel it with me. Oh, by the way, I want to also point out, this is like a secondary re-review before I get to the re-review. If you own IEMs, if you're an IEM person, stop using anything but a BTR5. Oh, but Zeos, I have an expensive DAP. Stop using anything but a BTR5 with LDAC. Please. There's something about this unit. Every time I test IMs, if I go from, I'm going to go straight THX, or I've got a, $600 portable player, the fucking BTR5 sounds the best. And I'm not even using it balanced, again, because look at this cable. That's like a bullet casing, but aluminum, and it's got a beautiful little gooey, wow, my brain. I'm thinking, hold on, the words will come to me. Strain relief. Strain relief. And it folds, and it's black. And look, it's straight. This is like that cable, a little bit thinner and like more goth. It's definitely more goth. But another aluminum with a little aluminum donut you slide up and down. It's a $120 IM. And I've gotten flagship cables that are not as nice as this. It's perfect. I didn't want to change to that. I was like, oh, I want to hear these balanced, sort of. If something impresses me as much as these Legacy 3s have impressed me, I don't need to change the cable. I don't need to try them balanced. I do need to advise. I was racking my brain figuring out how I was going to describe the different sound effects that these switches perform. But I'm going to do something different and probably shitty in the words of like an audio reviewer. I'm not going to tell you what they do. Because as much as sound is subjective, and I am here literally to tell you that this is good or this is bad, these IMs overall are fucking amazing. And when you start switching those switches, things happen. Very subtle things. And you can just keep compounding changes, like one up, no, one down, now two up, now two down, now both up, and now both down. And I'm not going to tell you what they do, because it only matters if you buy them. And it only matters if you, like, I want you to spend the time, because I'm sure if I say, hey, putting them both up makes them like, but I don't want to say that, which I just did, and I don't edit, so fuck. But if you find that there's something you just want to play with, if you have free time, just fucking flip the switches. Flip the switches. Wow, that 93% humidity caught up to me fast. So you've got IMs that weigh nothing, that have amazingly nice wires with the heat shrink on here, that you can balance for $30. That, oh, I want to point out here, they're on Linsol proper, or they're on Amazon. However, you only get 3 different colors on Amazon, and their price range is like $44, $29. If you go to Linsol, they're $119 for the Clockworks. However, apparently you can go first. I have the universal fit. You can, instead of $120, pay $190 and send them your IEM internal ear measurements if you have 3D scans. For these, for $190, it's $70 more for a custom IM. Why didn't anyone tell me this shit? First of all, I have my scans. I gotta send them to Linsol and just be like, here. But I'm kind of glad I did the universals because I know how good they are. And then you have the choice of the color faceplate. You have the Mystique one that's on Amazon, or the Clockworks one that's here, or you have custom design. And you hit that, and then holy Jesus fuck. Like, I don't even, like, you could change the color of the front and the back. And it adds money to it, obviously, but, like, that's like that's the color of, it doesn't show you. But this one looks like old pottery. And that looks like a seashell. I didn't know this was meant, I didn't know there were this many choices and things. Like, you know what it is? You know what it comes down to is I'm out of touch because I don't need any IM that's my IM because I have a fucking table full of IMs that are not my IMs that I got to get through my IM table IM. Have I made an IM review where I don't turn around? It is 2 balanced armature. It's 2 BA, 1 DD. All right. I was looking in there and there's one of them's real tiny, little tiny bastard. So you can customize this to the point of it actually being a CIM for under $200. And the sound, which we'll now get to because it's welcome to like 14 minutes into this review. The sound is, at first, I was just like, all right, they're IMs, I'm wearing them. I wonder if these need any break-in. Oh, no, they don't. Just, no, they don't. Sometimes an IM comes and you put it in your ears and you use it and you're like, I don't know, it doesn't quite, and then you take it off and you give it 50 hours of pink noise, and you put it back in and you reassess. It's like, all right, something softened up, or something was fixed, or maybe something got worse. Break-in doesn't necessarily make things better all the time. You might get something out of the box that is perfect, and then after use and use and use, things start loosening up, and it's not as perfect anymore. So it's a crapshoot. But I knew immediately with these that they're not going to need a break-in. They just fucking are. They just fucking are. I'm going to put them back in my ears. I'm going to leave them on the default setting of both things off. I'm going to try to get my thing around my quarantine hair. Anybody else got a haircut? I'm honestly my place will not open again. I'm going on 3 months without a haircut. I've just been trimming above my ears with scissors, so I probably look like a madman. Is this still playing? Yes, it is. Okay. Nine Inch Nails is currently playing. Reptilian, because why wouldn't? And there's an impact of sound. Like the low end happens, and sometimes it doesn't happen. But it only happens when it needs to happen. It isn't one of those IMs, it's like, I'm a bassy IM. Bass all the fucking time. Like this song is a very light bass song. But there's still some kick drums and some angry sounds that hit you. And then if we change tracks, which here, let's do it with the BTR-5. Again, something that everyone should fucking own. Flying Teapot from Cowboy Bebop. Female vocals. Like, there's an echo. There's an echo in the back of this track. Because she's singing, I'm not going to look it up, but go find Flying Teapot from the Cowboy Bebop OST. I'm sure it's either on YouTube or maybe Spotify. That's one of the reasons that I don't have a huge Spotify playlist. They don't have anime soundtracks. And that's 40% of what I listen to. But this song, she's singing in a room, and you can hear, at least on these IMs, the decay of her voice echoing off the back walls. And she's not far away either. She's directly in the center of my head, between my ears perfectly. And she's singing at the back of my eyeballs, and I could hear everything around me. Give me a key to a... Alright, I'm going to change tracks again, because no singing. Die Hard 2 soundtrack. If 40% of my music is anime soundtracks, the other 40% of my music is movie and TV show soundtracks. Because people are paid to make this sound good before they make it. Whereas music, you make it whatever the fuck you make it and hope it does well on the radio. Or I guess the radio is dead now. There's such small sounds that this is picking out. Because this is not a loud track. If you want to find Attention Dulles Tower from the Die Hard 2 soundtrack, it's like there's a live orchestra here, and it feels like someone's walking around with a good microphone, just putting it at the instruments. There's nothing they're playing in front of. Because I could hear things coming and going. So I'm going to give these, like, 5 stars imaging. 5 stars. Out of 5 stars, not out of 10. And I'm going to give Soundstage like an 8. And I don't like doing numbers, but you fuckers like numbers, and I want you to understand that we've got amazingly good imaging. And then we've got a spatial thing going on. I think these have more going on in the upper half, mid-range to treble, than like the Starfields. More going on doesn't necessarily mean it's louder, and it doesn't mean it's better quality. There's just more of it. It's like I could hear everything happening. It's a 3-way. It's a driver, it's a dynamic, and 2 BAs. And I'm definitely detecting that one of those BAs is a tweeter, is a fucking super tweeter. Oh, I love this song too. AMC's The Walking Dead original soundtrack. That show sucks now, but Warm Shadows by Fink, the Dactyl remix. I'm holding on. Like this song, I don't think even played in the fucking show, but it's great. That was my biggest problem with The Walking Dead. Where the fuck is your music? Every once in a while, they'll sit and sing around a campfire. Do solar panels and MP3s not exist still? Steal a night away. Here. All right. The reason I knew I was going to do this review today and not like yesterday or tomorrow is Carol and Tuesday, another anime, another soundtrack. I have the entire thing on here. And it came on. I decided to put this on today because it came on and I went, oh, shuffle off. I got to hear every song. And I listened to the entire soundtrack. And if you've watched the show, which is on Netflix, I think, it's a show about two girls who come from the streets making music, and they find a producer, and then they make a couple albums, and they start getting popular on Instagram, and they do a thing, and they meet these. At the end, they make a big thing to save the world. And every week is like a new track, and you feel these tracks because it's not just like, oh, they play music. No, they make this music because the shit in their lives. I was crying like a little fucking girl. I might be doing it now. You can't tell. This is why I sit behind the camera. Some of the tracks on there honestly brought me to tears, and I don't know if it's just like, I don't want to completely give the Thai Audio Legacy 3s credit for making me cry like a little bitch, but they didn't hurt. Usually when I'm assessing equipment, which is, hey, guess what Zeus does for a living? He assesses equipment. Usually when I'm assessing equipment, it's a little bit more scientific than that, and it shouldn't be. And when shit can poke me in that place that beats in your chest, liver. Wait, no, that's stomach, heart. That's it. When I get emotional over music, I kind of forget about the hardware aspect of it. So I'm going to say that's how good these are. They make Zeus cry like a little bitch. I mean, granted, the music, and I had a fresh memory. I just finished Carol on Tuesday like 2 months ago. But and another song that came on was, and I think I linked this in a previous video, was the one from Game of Thrones before Game of Thrones sucked. Is it under here, under G? For game? No, it's probably under the artist. The one that they play, the one when Cersei's, I don't want to spoiler it for anyone, when the Sept of Baelor has a fireworks show. That whole fucking like 7 minute, and I just pieced out. I was done. I wasn't even paying attention to what I was doing. I wasn't concerned about switches. I wasn't concerned about I'm not running balanced, and I wasn't concerned about fucking I have to still do my taxes because July is coming up. Just about the music. And fucking bravo. Whatever I lacked in commitment to the Thai Audio Phantoms, I am wholly on board for the Thai Audio Legacy 3s. Like, and it sucks because if I could just hear every IM that's ever been made all at once, I wouldn't be so far behind in the love of these. I would just be like, oh, it showed up. I reviewed it. Okay, here it is. And then I'm just waiting for the next one. So you do good, Thai Audio. You do good. And they don't weigh the fact that they don't weigh anything really is just like, you would think they would need to, but that just means they can make the molds easier because it's just going to be an outer shell. That's why they can make them for so cheap. I'm going to consider telling Linsol if they'll hook me up, or I'll pay for it. I don't fucking care. $190 here, take my money. Custom ones of these. I might CIM these. I don't do CIMs. I would CIM these. And if you don't have your ears scanned, you can, well, in 2020, in June 2020, I don't know how hard it is to get your ears scanned by a entomologist? ENT? Is entomologist bugs? That's a bug man, isn't it? Yeah, whatever. The guy who could scan your ears is a doctor, and you could just get it for like $50. And then you pay them an extra $70. And then you have these fit perfectly in your ears, and you wouldn't even need tips. Because that's where I want to know. Because it's not a very complicated IEM. It's got the switches, which do things. But it's not a complicated IEM. And if they can produce even... Like, I don't even know what it would improve. Would it be improved? Holy fuck. I have to stop talking now. I gotta go. I have leftover Indian food I'm gonna go eat. I wanted to do this before I ate Indian food and then fell asleep. So get that wallpaper, which is fitting for the Clockwork pack. And the fact that it made me cry, I would cry for that, in the description. Check out the Patreon and Subscribestar, which will, by the way, be seeing this review way earlier than you people in the public. Not that I'm offended by you people in the public, but those people pay my bills, so they get to see this shit like a week plus early. And if there's low or no stock, they bought it. That's reason number one for joining the Patreon and Subscribestar. Both have the same benefits, by the way. Reason number two is ask me any questions you want on platform. I've been really good. I've caught up with all the questions on Patreon and all the questions on Subscribestar, so I am up to date. I'm going to try to do them every day. So if you want to ask me a question, a very simple question, keep it up there. Try not to write me a book. That's all I'm going to ask. And the third reason to join is the yard sale. And if I can get Linsol to make me a custom set of these will be in the yard sale. That's my new thing. Because, I mean, fuck me, bro. Fuck me, bro, these. So yeah, if they're gonna be like, all right, cool, we'll set them up. Even if it's 6 weeks away, I kind of want these to disappear from my life for a while. So I could pay attention to more $1,000 IMs, which is like, hey, $1,000 IMs. Who cares? So that's it. Buy things in the yard sale, see the reviews early, ask me any question on a platform. There is a $10 tier. And that $10 tier has been very popular as of late because people want to come into the private behind-the-scenes Telegram chat, which is what the $10 tier grants you. And those people have very, very strong opinions. And they usually match mine, but not always. And it's nice to have arguments. If you want to have a good, solid audio argument, that's a good place to be. Because those people are as passionate about shit as I am, but at some point I just stop caring and leave, and then they just argue amongst themselves. And if you ask a question like, hey, Zeos, I want to buy this, should I? You'll get my opinion via voice. Or I could pull out a video and show you things. But you're going to get probably 100 people's other opinions. And that's great, because it's nice to balance it out. Because there's stuff that I don't know. And there's equipment I haven't tested. But I guarantee you, with the entire swath of people in that chat, everyone's touched something that you want to buy, or might think about buying, or might think about selling. A lot of people are selling their gear on there too, which is sort of like a private selling market, which is wallpaper, description, cut it out, put it on your phone. That one's actually really good, and I'm glad I picked it because of the goth theme. We've got the goth gear, I don't know, steampunk, vampire, lolly. Well, she's not a lolly. She's fine. Anyway, we're done. We're done. I'm going to put this all back together, and by all back together, I'm going to zip this up. And then I'm going to probably put these back in my ears, but with the balance cable, and see if that improves anything. If it does, that's hilarious, because I don't think you could improve upon it. All right, see you tomorrow. Long videos forever.